What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into our NFL show of the week. It is divisional weekend in the NFL. 4 great football games going down, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. I'm your man, Riggs Tamburo. That is Bryson Owens. We appreciate all of you guys for heading over to our YouTube channel and checking this out. If you could just do us a favor, click that subscribe button. We would really appreciate it. But Mr. Owens, we are jumping straight in here, man, to the very first game on Saturday between the Texans and the Ravens. Big one here. Texans, they are 9.5-point dogs. Ravens, 9.5-point favorites, coming off a week of rest. Texans coming off a huge win over the Cleveland Browns. 43.5 points on the total in this game. Look, man, I know why the Ravens are favored here, but do you feel like 9.5 is a bit heavy?
I think it is. 9.5 is a lot of points for a regular season game between these two. Then you put it in a playoff atmosphere. The Texans are coming off that huge win, like you mentioned a second ago. I think 9.5 is way too much. So I like the Texans to cover here for a few reasons. One, CJ Stroud's amazing. I think he's one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He is tearing it up against anyone he plays right now. We talked about it a week ago, what he was going to do against that great Cleveland Browns defense. But 45 points on them. I think he did just fine. This Baltimore defense, it's incredible. Its secondary is really good, but they're banged up. Marlon Humphrey's questionable heading into this game. They've got some injuries on that side of the field. The one thing I think that Houston Texans need to do if they want any shot of keeping themselves in this game is they're going to have to protect CJ Stroud. The Baltimore Ravens did lead the league in sacks this year with 60. They don't get to the quarterback a ton. They don't pressure him a ton. They only pressure him 19.5% of the time, which is among the lowest in the NFL, which is fascinating to see the fact that they led the NFL in sacks, but they don't pressure the quarterback a ton. And so if this Texans offensive line can keep CJ relatively clean, I think he's going to have a chance to have a really successful day. And on the other side, I know that Baltimore probably has the best defense in the NFL. This Texans defense, kind of underrated. And they do the one thing that really messed up the Browns last week that could do the same thing to the Ravens. They stop the run. Teams don't run on them. They're ranked 6th overall in the NFL this season in run defense. The Baltimore Ravens, they're obviously the number 1 rushing team in football. So this is going to be strength on strength. And if the Texans have a chance to slow down this run game for the Ravens and make Lamar beat them from the pocket, and then make Lamar not like scramble, not get his 50-yard runs, sending him up in scoring positions. If the Texans can keep Lamar in that pocket and make him beat him with their arm, it sets the Texans up to at least compete. I don't know if they're going to win this game, but in my opinion, 9.5 points, way too much.
I'm going to counter you really quickly, though. Not counter you, because you're right. The Texans' run defense is a lot better than the Ravens is, but the Ravens have the pass defense advantage, and that's clear here in this game. They are going to make it very difficult on CJ Stroud, going to try to jump some routes. I expect their corners and their safeties to be playing very aggressive in this football game. I think they're really going to come at them, make CJ work for it. We saw how comfortable CJ looked last week. That cannot happen here. If they let him get comfortable, we've seen this guy slice and dice. And when CJ Stroud gets going, he is a very difficult quarterback to stop. I think they're going to have to figure something out there. But you're right. I think the Ravens have their work cut out here in this game, trying to figure out how can we run on them? How can we, do some play action and some other things and fake them out a little bit? They're going to have to open up the run game by passing the football here. I do trust Lamar to pass the football well. He gets his top target and Mark Andrews back for this game. Obviously, we won't know. I'll believe it when I see him on the field catching passes 5 minutes before the game, but it sounds like Mark Andrews is healthy, is good to go. If he is, I think that's a big target for Lamar. You're talking 6 to 10 catches in this game, probably a touchdown for Mark Andrews. And against a weak pass defense, that is a scary man to have to add to the mix if you're the defense for the Houston Texans. With that said, I'm with you here. I believe the Ravens win this game, but I think 9.5 points, Bryson, it's just too much. I think 7.5, 8.5 makes a little bit more sense here. Genuinely, I wouldn't be shocked to see it at 6.5 or 4.5. Like as low as that. I think you got to give them at least 4.5 points here. They are at home. They are rested, but sometimes that rest doesn't bode well for teams. We're going to find out if the Texans come out flying and they put up 10 or 14 in the first quarter and the Ravens go 3 and out 2 times, there might be a problem for the Ravens in this game. What are they going to do if they fall behind? That's what I want to see here. Lamar, in my opinion, has all the pressure in this game. There's not much pressure on CJ Stroud here. So will they deliver? I think their defense steps up is the big key for them here. And honestly, as I said about that pass defense for the Texans, I think Lamar is going to put up close to a 30-piece nugget in this game, something around 28, 31-ish. If CJ can break 30, I think they win the game, but I don't think they're going to get there. I see him around 20 in this game. So I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens to win. I am going to go Texans to cover, but to be honest, I'm probably going to go with the same game parlay in this game. I'm going to buy that all the way up to 17.5 with the Texans. I don't see how they lose by more than that. That doesn't make sense to me. But before I give my over-under pick, I want to ask you, where are you going on 43.5?
I'm going to go with the over here. I know I talked about the Baltimore Ravens having probably the best defense in the NFL, and this Texans defense, it's underrated. They get the job done. They did really well against the Browns a week ago. But these are two of the best offenses in the NFL. You just saw it. Like I said, CJ Stroud put up 45 points against one of the best defenses a week ago. I'm not saying he's going to put up 45 again, but I'm with you. I see him scoring somewhere in the low to mid-20s range. I have them somewhere at like 23 points. I can see it being a 30 to 23 type game, maybe 28 to 23 at the very closest it gets.
Okay. Fair enough. I am with you on the over here, but like I said, guys, I'm going same game parlay, so I actually going to buy the number down. So I am going Houston Texans plus 17.5, and I'm going over 36.5 in this game. This feels incredibly good to me. 20-17, and you hit the over.
Yep.
Come on, that's got to hit. As we both said, we think the Ravens might push 30 here. You got to expect the Texans minimum put up 17 points in this game. It'd be surprising if they didn't get that high. So I think the same game parlay plus 100 odds. That's crazy to me. I'm going to take that all day long. So good luck to you guys there. Every single game, though, we're going to give you guys our favorite touchdown scorer on the board. So, Bryson, I will let you go first here, man. Here are the odds for you. You got the favorite on the board there, Gus Edwards at minus 110, Mark Andrews plus 120, Lamar plus 120, Zay Flowers 145. Likely the first guy on the board for the Texans is Devin Singletary at plus 135. Here's some other numbers for you. Your number one favorite guy to get in. Where are you going?
I'm going to go with my guy, Nico Collins. I've loved him all season. Breakout season for him. He's easily CJ Stroud's favorite target, especially once Tank Dell went down earlier in the year. Nico Collins exploded. He's at 5 touchdowns in his last 7 games. I don't know why he's at plus 160. I guess it's just giving respect to the Ravens defense, giving respect to the Ravens secondary. I mentioned Marlon Humphrey, their best corner, questionable coming into this game. So I don't know who matches well with Nico Collins in this game. I think if the Texans are going to stay in this game and keep it close, Nico's going to have to go off.
I love your Nico Collins pick. I'm going to go with a Raven here. I am going to go Mark Andrews anytime touchdown at plus 120. You can find him all the way up to plus 145, plus 150 on a few other books. Guys, look, there is something, yes, there's the fear of is he ready to go? Is he going to be okay? That is a fear for me in this game. But Bryson already told you how good that run defense is. I can't go with Gus Edwards at minus money. And as much as I like Lamar, I don't think 120 is good enough for me here. For the same odds, I get his top target. Give me a guy who had to work his butt off to get back to this game, going to be highly motivated to score. Mark Andrews anytime. Best of luck to all of you guys in that game. We are now jumping on over to the night game on Saturday, and this obviously is the first of the NFC games. The Green Bay Packers, they are 9.5-point dogs, same exact spread as the Texans, on the road in San Fran, taking on those Niners. Packers coming off a huge road upset win over the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys kind of covered at the end of the game, made it look a little better than it was, but let's just be honest, they beat the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys. It wasn't even close. Jordan Love could not be stopped. Obviously, 49ers defense, better than the Cowboys defense, but let's not lie to ourselves here. Up until what happened, the Cowboys defense have been known as a relatively respectable defense overall. So in this game, man, once again, 9.5 points. You look at the 49ers. Will you take them to win by 10 or more?
I don't think so. And I think this game is fascinating because it's almost exactly the same situation as we just talked about the Ravens versus Texans. You've got probably the best team in their conference easily all season with the San Francisco 49ers. going against an extremely young team that no one thought was going to be here when the season started with the Green Bay Packers. A 9.5-point spread. Both the Packers and Texans coming off huge wins in their first round of the playoffs, going into these buildings that are really hard to play in. I think it's fascinating how similar these two games are. And I have it going a pretty similar way. I have the Niners winning, but I think the Packers can compete in this one. I think the one big difference is the Niners are going to get off to a better start than the Cowboys did. And Jordan Love's playing at an unbelievable level right now. The way this offense is clicking together, they're running the ball better. Jordan Love seems way more confident than he looked, even 5 weeks ago. He looks like a completely different quarterback. But this Niners defense, it's legit. They're pretty much top 10 in every category, especially points. They're third in points. They're third against the run. They're seventh overall in defense. It's an incredible defense. But the big thing for the Niners, in my opinion, in this game is they're being coached by Kyle Shanahan. And the Cowboys were coached by Mike McCarthy. It's a big difference. Kyle Shanahan's been here. He's won a lot of playoff games. He knows how to win these games. I think the Packers are talented enough to keep it close for most of this game, but I can see it being about a touchdown win for the Niners in this one. So I think the Packers are going to cover, but I think the Niners will walk out with a win.
I love when Mike McCarthy catches strays. It's just like my
right?
favorite thing ever. This has nothing to do with Mike McCarthy.
Like
it's like, yeah, bro, eat that one again. But hey, Cowboys sealed their fate. They're bringing him back. But anyway, you guys want to go check that out. Check out our latest show, What's Your Take, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well. But yeah, man, I think you're onto something here with this game. The Packers, you have to give them a little bit of respect here. You mentioned it. No one thought they'd be here, but guess what? They're here, and they're playing very well. It's not like the Cowboys, just played terrible and it came down to a game-winning field goal and the Packers late covered and won. No, they outplayed them for 4 quarters. But Bryson, I have a problem with the Packers, and I know it was some garbage time, and I know in the second half you could kind of tell that the Packers were like already like oh my god, we beat these guys, right? LaFleur said they asked him, like he was talking about how in their minds they were already ready, they're already preparing, they're already ready. Look, the Packers still gave up over 500 passing yards and 37 first downs. And I get that it's garbage time, and I get that you kind of play a little whatever, but the game wasn't over yet, okay? And that's a lot to give up. And if you let a guy like Brock Purdy, who manages the game as good as anybody in the NFL, he's going to dissect you and pick you apart. And the question is, can Jordan Love do what he did last week and go shot for shot for 4 quarters with Brock Purdy and, like you said, Shanahan? I think Shanahan, LaFleur, oh my God, what a coaching matchup. This is going to be a lot of fun. But I just think overall 9.5 points. Bryson, I want to lay it so bad with the 49ers here because I do see a world that they win this game something like 31-10 because I do think that Jordan Love is so hot and cold, and I think this could be a cold one. But it's so hard to leave 9.5 points on the board in a divisional football game in a warm night in San Francisco. Once again, tough place to play, but I'm going to throw one stat out there that is my deciding factor. That is the spread for the 49ers. They are 3-5 at the spread at home this year. So for some reason, even though they win at home, they don't cover at home. So I'm going to go exactly with you again. I'm going 49ers to win. If forced to pick, I'll go Packers, but you know what? I'm going to do what I did in the last game, and I'm going to go same game parlay. Give me 17.5 points with the Packers here, and I'm going to go with the over 43.5 in this game. That gives you a -110 same game parlay. I'm willing to risk that to get the same odds as betting one of those numbers straight. So I'm going to go with that there. I don't think that they win the football game. So obviously, I'm leaning over in this game, but I don't know if I'd go over 50.5 though. Are you going to go over?
I think I'm going to go under on this one for a couple of reasons. One, the Niners defense is incredible, like I mentioned, and the Packers are kind of due for a cool-off game after that high emotional one. The Packers might only be able to put up like somewhere between like 17 to 21-ish points. But the Niners, they had the week off, and we talked about it with the Ravens. That week off can kind of bite you in the ass sometimes. I think the Niners team could be a team where that kind of pops up because they're such a rhythm-based team. They rely so much on timing and people being on top of things and on their routes and on their targets and all that kind of stuff. And offenses like that, when they get a week off, the first quarter can kind of be a little rusty. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners come out with a 3-and-out in their first drive. And everyone's like, whoa, what's happening to the 49ers? Then come halftime, they've put up a couple points, they put a couple drives together, and they look more like themselves. So I think it's going to take some time for this offense to kind of get going. And with that, I can see it being somewhere around like a 20, I'm going to say like a 24-17 type win for the Niners.
24-17. Ooh. Yeah, see, now I'm struggling. Now I don't know if I want to go over the 43.5 or if I want to go like under 55.5. Here's the thing. If we go under 55.5, yeah, if you go under, you get it at plus 100 instead of minus 110. So you know what? I'm going to go with that. It's not very many points, though. We're only getting 5 extra points in that game, but I'm willing to do it. So let's go under 55.5. Packers plus 17.5, guys. That feels really safe. Even like I said, if it's something in the realm of like 30-17 in that game, you still stay under, you still bank the cover, even though the Packers don't cover the real spread, just kind of cover your butt a little bit. So good luck to you guys there. But Bryson, we do have to talk, man, about our favorite touchdown scores in this game. Obviously, the major favorite on the board. Is anybody surprised? Christian McCaffrey at minus 320
My God.
to score anytime. Insanity. Deebo Samuel is the only other guy. Well, I should say 2 other guys. Aaron Jones minus 110, Deebo Samuel minus 105. Everybody else plus money on this board. Jaden Reed coming in at plus 200. Romeo Dobbs at 245. I mean, there's a lot of good value on this board. Who's your pick?
This was really tough because even though I have the under hitting, there's so many guys on this field. You can see scoring a touchdown at any point. I do really love Romeo Dobbs. I think he and Jordan Love are building a real connection there. But my favorite pick is probably Deebo Samuel, just because I'm not going to lay anything with Christian because the odds aren't there.
Yeah.
But Deebo Samuel, very similar to Christian, he can score on the ground, he can score through the air. He's not the most targeted guy in the world. Brock Purdy, I think, targets George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk a little bit more frequently than Deebo Samuel in the air. But once Deebo has that ball in his hands, he can go 60 yards and run over everyone in sight because he is a physical runner with the ball in his hands. So I think you're going to see Deebo score, whether it's through the air or on the ground.
I like your pick. One thing about George Kittle, you guys, is he's that guy that he steps up in those games when they play at home and it's a big one. Yep. We see him go for 1 or 2 touchdowns, 8 catches, 80 plus yards. I think that's one of those games here. I'm willing to take my shot here on George Kittle. He's plus 100 on DraftKings. He's plus 125, 135 on a lot of other books. I think that's great value as long as there's a plus sign in front of it on George Kittle. You mentioned Brandon Ayuk. I was going to look that way, but I think if you're going to go Deebo, then you should go Kittle and not go Deebo and Ayuk. I just think there's more of an odds of 1 tight end, 1 receiver. Makes a little bit more sense to me there. So best of luck to you guys in that one. That's our 2 touchdown scores. Once again, both guys, nicer plus money on other books. If you hit one of them, you're going to win. So make sure you shop that line, and good luck to you guys there. Should be a fun one on Saturday night. Jumping on over Sunday morning. Oh, Bryson, I am looking forward to this one. Got some news on this game, by the way, you guys. The Bucks and the Detroit Lions, the highest average ticket pricing for a divisional football game of all time. It looks like the damn Super Bowl out here with these numbers. $1,186 a ticket on average to get in the door here. Bryson, I get it. The fans are probably thinking, 1, this is history. Them Tampa people got money. I'm sure they're all making their way up to Detroit to go to this one. But I also think it's because they probably assume the Niners are going to win. And if the Niners win, this is the last game in Detroit. I hope to see a world that the Packers win and they play in Detroit. Can you imagine what those tickets are going to go for? But hey, anyway, look, man, 6.5 points here for the Detroit Lions at home. Bucks getting 6.5. Baker Mayfield coming off a huge upset win over the Eagles. Another situation where it wasn't just a win. It was a murder scene for the Buccaneers. They killed them from go. Baker Mayfield looks as on as he's looked in a very long time. We all know Baker's got that FU mentality. I love it. But I already mentioned it when you and I talked on What's Your Take. I think Jared Goff here at home is a very tough quarterback to fade. We saw Stafford play well last week. Do you think that Baker and company can come up in here and win this game? And if they can't win, can they cover 6.5?
I don't think they're going to win because I think at the end of the day, they're just not talented enough to really win a game like this. I think they're really good. I think that they all fit together really well. I think this is the best Baker we've ever seen. And the season he's putting together, I wouldn't be surprised if Baker just wills this team to at least a chance to win the game late. Mm-hmm. With that said, I am going to take the Buccaneers to cover this thing. Last week, huge emotional win, great scene in Detroit. They didn't win by very much. They won by 1 point. It was a close game the whole time. And Tampa Bay lit up Philadelphia, like you mentioned. In a very similar situation here for Tampa Bay. They're playing against the Lions team, 27th in the NFL in passing defense. The Eagles last week, I mentioned, Eagles had a terrible secondary. This Lions secondary, it's not great. And if Baker Mayfield gets rolling, he is on fire with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin, with the running backs. Baker can get going. And then the one thing that I think could really mess up the Detroit Lions. Now, they do have one of the best O-lines in the NFL. I believe I'm looking it up right now. They have the second best offensive line according to Pro Football Focus. But you saw last week, the Eagles had the number one offensive line according to Pro Football Focus, and Tampa Bay just murdered Jalen Hurts. They got to Jalen Hurts every time they wanted to. They brought pressure. Yes, Todd Bowles loves to blitz on big downs. There's going to be a lot of that. And Jared Goff isn't Jalen Hurts with his legs. If Jared Goff's getting pressured, he's probably going down. He's probably not going to escape and get a big play with his legs. So I think it's going to be close. I think that Tampa Bay is going to give Detroit a real run for their money. At the end of the day, though, I think Detroit's just the more talented team at this point in the season. So I would probably have Detroit winning by 3-ish points.
Man, that Lions defense, they are a liability, and I'm with you. Mm-hmm. It is a little bit scary to get behind them when Baker looks so good. And the thing is, guys, is like Bryson, that defense for the Bucs, I said it. I know Anthony disagreed with me. Anthony Hirsch, shout out to him. He disagreed with me a few days ago when I said, look, this Bucs defense, they're the real deal. And he said, dude, because I said, well, they've only given up 9 points in 2 games. And he said, yeah, 0 points to the Panthers who suck and 9 points to the Eagles who suck. And I said, well, that's fair. I mean, that's a fair statement, but you can't. 9 points is 9 points. It's 4.5 points a game. Even if they give up 20 here, the point is the Lions should not go putting up a 30-piece here. Can they? I think they absolutely can, but I don't think that they will. They put up 24 on a Rams defense that I don't believe is as good as the Bucs defense. Yep. But I do think Matt Stafford and company are better than Baker Mayfield and company. And for the fact that they won that game, but they didn't cover, but they won that game, I'm struggling here. I know a lot of people are saying, watch out, this could be a big dog barking. I don't think you're wrong. I think if you want to chase a dog barking of the 3 games we've covered so far, I think this is the best shot here if you want to take one. But for that to happen, Jared Goff has to have about a 2 or 3 interception game at minimum. And the Lions defense have to look like the Eagles and Steelers defense and forget how to tackle. And in a game with so much at stake at home, good weather. Well, I shouldn't say good weather. Shout out to that reporter. No weather concerns. I just don't think that they're going to go out here and choke this one away. As good as Baker's looked, I'm happy for him. I think the road comes to an end here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I am going to once again go on the train of Lions to win, Bucs to cover. Even though I think the Lions could beat the crap out of them, I have to assume Baker can keep this close. With that said, I'm also going to wait until game time to bet this number, because if it falls to 6, then I don't really give a damn. I'll take it at 6, but I think it goes to 7. And if it gets to 7, I really like it. I want the touchdown here. I don't love 6-point spreads. I think the Bucs lose this game by 3 or 4 points, something in the realm of about 24-20, 27-20, which is why I want the 7. But either way, Lions to win. I got to go Bucs to cover until the Lions show us a cover. 1 point against the Rams is just not a good enough cover for me. So why jump on a team that is not covering right now in the playoffs? Just doesn't make any sense. But Bryson, looking here, man, at the over-under of 49 points. We kind of hyped up both offenses here. I'm going to lean towards that over 49 points. I'm going to go with my score prediction here of, call it 20. Oh my God, 49. Bryson, I don't know if
it's a lot of points.
Get there. You know what? Sorry, man. I'm putting you on the spot. You go first. I need a minute here. This is tough.
It's really tough. It's really tough because you mentioned, Baker Mayfield can put up points when he gets hot. When Baker's hot, he can put up points, but he has to get there first. Yes. And this Lions team, I didn't mention earlier, this Lions team can pressure the quarterback too. They actually led the NFL in pressure percentage this year. So I'm probably going to lean towards the under, even though these are two of the better. The Lions have one of the better offenses, and when Baker's hot, he can put up points. But I believe in these defenses to keep it a lower scoring game. So I'm going to go somewhere in the realm of 24-20 for the Lions.
24-20. See, man, that's what I said. And now I'm looking at the number and I'm like, damn, like I want to go over. But I mean, think about it, dude. Literally, it would 27-21 is under. Like you're still under. So like I'm really, really struggling here. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have the Bucks plus 11.5 or the Lions money line?
Ooh. I'd probably take the Bucks plus 11.5. I think so. Wow. I don't think the Lions can blow this team out. I don't think the Lions are the type of team that can blow out good teams.
I don't think they can lose.
Even at home, I don't think they'll lose either, but I see a better chance of Baker Mayfield going in there saying F you to everyone he sees and walking out there with a win than Jared Goff going in there saying F you and walking out with a 20-point win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Man, oh man. Okay, guys, so here's what I'm going to do. Even though I'm going against what Bryson literally just said, but I completely agree with him. I'm going to go Lions. We're going to make a same game parlay here because, we're on a trend right now of same game parlays. We're going to go Lions money line because we both have agreed that we don't think that they lose the game. And I like the 11.5, Bryson, but I do see a world that they absolutely crap the bed offensively for Tampa Bay. They put up 13 points or something in this game, and the Lions put up a 30-piece. I do see that world before I see the Lions losing. So going to go Lions on the money line and under 57.5 points in this game. 30-27, folks, and we hit the under. If that loses, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to happen. So that parlay, minus 120. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I like it. Minus 110 for the spread, minus 120 for the same game parlay. If this loses, you guys can go ahead and hit my DMs. I'll buy you Starbucks on Monday morning. I just don't think it's going to happen. So good luck to you guys there. But we do have to give you guys our favorite touchdown scorers of the game as we've been doing here. So take a look here. Some juicy odds on this board, Bryson. But first of all, looking at the minus guys, the favorites to score, you got Montgomery and Gibbs both at 125. You got Amon-Ra at minus 110 and Rashad White at minus 110. Everybody else on this board, I know you mentioned one guy that I'm thinking you're going to take here, but I can't wait to see him. You don't say him, I'm taking him. That you said on what's your take, but your favorite touchdown scorer on the board, who you rocking with?
Well, you brought it up. I mentioned Sam Laporta is my biggest X factor for the weekend for anyone. I think he's going to score a touchdown in this one. I think he's too important to Jared Goff in these big games to not get a bunch of targets. And I mentioned earlier, the Buccaneers, they like to bring pressure. They like to blitz. That leaves one-on-ones with quick routes. That's perfect for a Sam Laporta in the red zone type of touchdown here. If the Lions are going to win this game, Jared Goff has to play well. And when Jared Goff plays well, that usually means Sam Laporta is getting somewhere in the range of like 7 catches for about 80 yards and a touchdown. That's a typical Laporta game.
Oh man, all I want to say is I second that. Let's ride Sam Laporta, but I got to pick something different here. So guys, if you don't take Sam Laporta at plus money, I'm sorry, you're tripping. That's the best play in the game. Throw the same game parlay out the window. Sam Laporta at plus money at this point, it's like Jalen Hurts on the tush push was for the majority of the year. You have to bet it, and the fact that it's plus money, I literally might just take out a loan on my house. Just kidding. And put it on this one. I really think that they probably don't win if Laporta doesn't score. And if he does score, why would you want to bet it on a guy with minus money like Amon-Ra when Laporta has truly, in my opinion, been a bit more of a target than Amon-Ra has? So both going to ride Laporta. Bryson, every game, I feel like it doesn't matter which running back you pick, you're wrong. It just feels like that. But I also think that what they've been doing is when one guy gets in, they tend to give the other guy the next chance. So they have been kind of trying to let them both score here. I'm going to go with the guy that I've been riding the entire year. And even though once in a blue moon, I get screwed when I take him, I'm going to take him because he's plus 100 on MGM. He's plus 100 on FanDuel. I'm going to go David Montgomery. Anytime touchdown score. I know Jahmyr Gibbs. It's hard because Jahmyr is kind of the end zone guy as of late. But the minute I take Gibbs, I already freaking know it's David Montgomery. So I'm going to stick with my guns here. I'm going to take him. But if you only have the money, folks, to bet one guy, I think you bet Laporta. I'm with Bryson there. In my opinion, throw in that same game parlay, throw Laporta, throw Montgomery. If you don't hit 2 out of 3, I will honestly be shocked on that one. Yeah. So this to me feels like the easiest game to call so far. Best of luck to you guys there. One more game closing out the weekend, and this is surely the best game on the board. A quarterback rivalry that we have come to love in the NFL. That is Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs, Bryson, 3-point dogs. Some places 2.5, but we're going to say 3 because everybody knows if you're on Kansas City, you take the 3. If you're on Buffalo, you find the 2.5. Very simple math there, folks. But Kansas City, 3-point dogs walking into Buffalo, 45.5-point total. Both teams used to playing in the cold. Not going to be a shocker to anybody. They play each other every single year. In this game, does Patrick Mahomes get his revenge? The last time we saw these guys meet, Patrick Mahomes was throwing helmets, cussing up a storm, shaking hands and saying, that's bullshit. He was just mad. Does Mahomes get revenge here, or do you think Josh Allen is just a step ahead of him this year?
That's really close because if you look back to that game, they did score. They did go ahead. It was just taken back because of the offsides penalty. It was offsides. The wide receiver lined up on the wrong side of the field. Sorry, Chiefs
bullshit
fans.
Call. I'm sorry. I don't like the call to this day, but okay. Fair.
It's possible. But, the Chiefs, they went ahead in that game. So it's really hard to not look at this matchup and just say the Chiefs kind of own them because Buffalo hasn't convincingly beat them ever in this rivalry. And the one thing that does give Buffalo the advantage here, this is Patrick Mahomes' first ever road playoff game. He's never played a game that wasn't either neutral field with the Super Bowl or at home at Arrowhead. They're playing in Buffalo. And those fans are crazy. Those fans are waiting for this game. You saw them last week in below freezing temperature with feet of snow in the stands. Those fans showed up, and they were ready for that game. Yes. This Buffalo Bills team, I think they're playing just as good as the Chiefs defensively right now. I was more impressed with the Bills win over the Steelers than I was with the Chiefs win over the Dolphins because I knew the Dolphins were going to shit the bed in that game. I knew the Dolphins weren't ready.
Steelers were the biggest dogs of the week, though.
They were.
No one thought they were going to win, right?
No, and a lot of people did think that the Dolphins would. I knew they weren't going to show up in the cold, so I wasn't surprised that the Chiefs won. But I was impressed with the way the Bills played. I was impressed with the way Josh Allen played, and overall, when push comes to shove, who's the guy you look at with Kansas City right now this season, where if they need a big play, they can just go to it and it's 100% going to work. They don't have that this year. Even Travis Kelce's not 100% guaranteed right now. You look at the Buffalo Bills and they need a play to win that game. You just put the ball in Josh Allen's hands right now and he's going to get the job done. So I don't love it because I don't love betting the Bills in situations like this because they usually come up short. But I'm probably going to go with Buffalo in this game just because I think that there's more of an opportunity for Josh Allen to take over this game than there is for Patrick Mahomes.
Am I going to go down with this team? I am going to go down with this team. First of all, Broncos country. I apologize. Okay. But give me Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs all day long. I talk on this team all year. I try to fade them all year. Every good spot I get to fade Patty Mahomes. We've made quite some good money this year fading Kansas City at the spread. But 3 points with the Best quarterback in the NFL? I'm struggling, Bryson. In my opinion, the Buffalo Bills shouldn't even be here. In my opinion, the Steelers, if they showed up last week, they would have won that game. The Steelers couldn't tackle. The Steelers fumbled the ball too many times. Mason Rudolph threw some horrible picks, just some bad mistakes. I'm not convinced by Buffalo right now. Kansas City, I know, yeah, they struggled throughout the year. You mentioned you weren't impressed with the win, but why aren't you impressed with the win? They were 4-point favorites to beat Miami. They kicked the living shit out of them. Patrick Mahomes played a very good game. They tackled well. Their defense stepped up the way they stepped up every single week so far this year. I just think there's more. I trust them more. I trust Andy Reid more than I trust McDermott. I trust Mahomes more than I trust Josh Allen with the football. Even though I don't love the run game for Kansas City, I do believe Pacheco is a better back than Cook. I like Cook, and I'm not high on Pacheco, but I think he's better. But you mentioned the X factor is Josh Allen. I will give you that. The Chiefs don't have a Josh Allen, and that is a factor. But you know what, Bryson? If there's more than 13 seconds on the board, Kansas City going to win. Kansas City going to win. Buffalo better hope this time they kick a game-winning field goal and the clock expires. Because if they give that man 3 plays or more, he'll do some crazy shit, and he'll find a way to win this game. I think Patrick Mahomes knew this game was coming the minute he lost to Buffalo last time on that BS call that you said it was a penalty, but it's still it's gray water. I don't like it. I don't like it because it happens all the time. Gets called, doesn't get called, biggest moment of the game, and it gets called. I just don't like it. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, the right call is the right call. I think the minute that game ended, Patrick Mahomes got home to his beautiful new custom mansion, and he put a calendar on the board. He circled it and said, I'm coming. I'll see you there. Everybody knew this game was going to happen again. Everybody knew Kansas City Buffalo was not done for the year. And you know what? Who's the better quarterback, Bryson? Honestly, who's the better quarterback? Don't tell me this year. Who's the more reliable guy?
It's Patrick Mahomes.
Who's
I'm
the
going to
better
give you that
coach?
one. It's Andy Reid. I'll give you that one.
Who's the better defense?
That one's closer. I might give it to the Bills actually right now.
No way. There's no way.
That Bills defense is playing at a really high level right now.
No. Mason Rudolph playing horrible. Scored on them. They only got turnovers because the Steelers couldn't hold on to the football. The Bills didn't do nothing. They weren't punching the ball out. The Steelers just sucked flat out. All I'm telling you is you have a Miami team that everybody thought, even though Dolphins can't swim in frozen water. We all heard that. We all know that. You're right. They probably had no shot in that game. But all I'm saying is you're giving me the better team, in my opinion, on all facets, even on special teams. I think the Chiefs are the better team. Fair enough. I'm going to get 3 points with these boys. Don't just give me 3, Bryson. Give me the money line at plus 130. Ooh. I'm going to punish these sports books for giving me plus money on the biggest dog in the NFL. Y'all done piss this dog off. He's going to come barking. It's going to be a hell of a game, a classic as always. But you know what? The road does not matter. Patrick Mahomes is that dude. Josh Allen, his turnover problem comes back into play here. Steelers defense played bad. Josh Allen didn't turn the ball over last week. I guarantee you he throws a minimum of 1 interception in this game, probably 2. He probably fumbles the football. Mahomes does not make the same mistakes. Travis Kelce does step up. I just think the minute everybody writes off the Chiefs and says, oh, look how good the Bills are, that's when the script flips. I'm going to go Kansas City to win this game outright. But over under in this game, man, we're looking at 45.5 points. Tough number, going to be chilly, but 2 teams that always play in the cold. What do you do here?
I don't know. This one's really tough for me because you look at these offenses, the Chiefs haven't been the high-scoring offense we know them to be all year. I mean, they're 15th in the NFL this season in scoring at 21.8 points. The Bills are top 10 in scoring, so that Bills offense has been more consistently putting up points. You look at these defenses, though, they're both top 5 in scoring defense. The Bills are 4th and the Chiefs are 2nd. So it's really dangerous to bet a number like this with these quarterbacks on this field. I'm probably going to go with the under just because I think there's going to be a lot more run plays involved than I think people think. I think the defenses step up a little bit more. 45 is not very many points when you think of a Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes game.
It's not.
But you look at earlier in the season, it was 2017. They didn't even hit 40 points combined. So even then, it was lower scoring than people thought. I'm probably going to lean towards the under for this game.
I don't like the half-point hook. I'm going to start there. You can find it at 45. If you go under, you got to get the hook. If you go over, you got to find a way to not lay the hook. I'm just going to start there. I'm going to lean over because I just talked about this is going to be another classic. And even though 2017, that can still be a classic. That can still be a crazy good football game. But I just think both quarterbacks here, they both know what the other guy has. They both know that both teams' offenses are going to score points eventually. And even though, do I see a world that someone doesn't reach 20? Yeah, okay, I could see it. But I think that you're looking a little bit higher than that. I'm thinking something in the realm of 24, 21, 27, 23. I think it's a 3 or 4 point football game. And I do think it's higher scoring. I'm not going to lie. 24, 21, if you get the hook, it's not a bad under to be on, folks. So if you're on that with Bryson, they nailed this number. They're trying to get you to go over, but they're going to make you pay for it. So I'm going to go over. I don't love it, but the majority of the money right now, 70% of it is on the under. You mentioned it, 2017. It makes sense why it's there. I just don't think the cold honestly plays a factor in this game really at all. Either way, this game is not as cold as last week's games for either team. So it's not that bad. So good luck to you guys there. But as I always do, I'm making a same game parlay, Bryson. I'm going to ask you this one more time because I have to. Would you rather have the Bills plus 3.5 points or the Chiefs plus 7.5 points?
Oh, that one's really close. I would probably take the Chiefs plus 7.5 points because if the Bills lose, I think that the Chiefs beat them by close to a touchdown. But if the Bills win, I think it's going to be a one-score game-winning field goal type of situation.
It would be really surprising to see Kansas City lose by more than 7, wouldn't it? Like, I can't even. Yeah, I'm picking them to win. So, yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 points no matter how you cut the cake. But with that, I don't want Buffalo to lose by 4. So I'm not going to do that. 30-24, it could be a game like that. Either way, we know Kansas City covers win or lose in that situation. We don't know that with Buffalo. So going to take 7.5 points. Now, Bryson, the question is, do you go over 36.5 points in this game, or do you go under 51.5?
Oof.
So I'd probably do the over, or 51 or less.
I'd probably do the over the 36.5 points because I think it's going to be somewhere around both. I think it's going to be somewhere around that like 24-20 type of game. I think you could easily see both teams putting up 20 points, and I could be very wrong on my over-under prediction if that happens. But in a situation like this, I don't really see a team being held to like 16 points.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, guys, we're going to go Kansas City plus 7.5 and over 36.5 for all of you same game parlayers out there. By the way, guys, the reason I do these same game parlays, one, I think there actually is some value in it. But two, a lot of you guys ask us for same game parlays, and I totally understand that. So that's why we do them for every single game. So either take the straight bets if you want them, but if you're a same game parlayer, we always have you covered. Just like we have you touchdown people, because you guys never stop talking about these touchdown scores. Y'all always want a touchdown score, and we always deliver when you guys ask. So let's talk here about these touchdown scores. Oh, by the way, the same game parlay minus 110. Good luck to you guys there. I have that in on BetMGM, but touchdown scores for this game. One man and one man only is at minus money, and that is Josh Allen at minus 120. Everybody else, Bryson, you're getting plus money across the board. I will throw out there our man Anthony Hirsch, shout out to him. His favorite guy in this game, he's going with a big one. He's going Dalton Kincaid. Anytime touchdown at plus 240. I only know that because he liked it so much that he felt the need to tell me 4 days ago. So if you guys want to ride Kincaid, go ahead and do so. Bryson, who's your pick here, man?
So I think Josh Allen is a guarantee. I think he's guaranteed to score. So I'm not going to bring up Josh Allen in this streak of his 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's doing it on the ground pretty much weekly at this point. I think it's 16 rushing touchdowns on the season. So Josh Allen's a guarantee in my opinion. So outside of him, I think I'm going to go with the Chief, which scares me for my other predictions. But I'm going to go with Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice led the – think about this. The Kansas City Chiefs still have Travis Kelce on their roster. And Rashee Rice had more receiving touchdowns than him this year. That's rookie crazy. Beat out Travis Kelce. That was wild to me. He has 7 touchdowns on the year. He's easily Mahomes' favorite wide receiver target. And if the Chiefs are going to try and stay in this game as long as they can, I think Rice has to find the end zone.
I really like your Rashee Rice pick. I can't get behind it only because I have a fear that he's one of those guys. He's hot and he's not, and he's hot and he's not. And he was hot in the last game. So I'm going to stay off of him, but at plus 125, guys, I think if you're on Kansas City to win this game, I think it's a great pick in that situation. Also, Josh Allen, my bet is already in on him. I got him at plus 110. You guys can still find him at plus 100, plus 105 on a few books. So I do recommend in a game where everybody's plus money except one guy on one book, go find it at plus money. It's very simple here. So go find Josh Allen. I agree with you, Bryson. I mean, I'm not on the Bills to win the game, but they're favored for a reason. And we already said he might be the X factor for them in this game. I'm going to go with the guy that I said on What's Your Take this week was going to be my breakout player of the week. And it's funny to say breakout player when you talk about this guy because he's broken out about 100 times over, but he hasn't broken out lately. And that is Travis Kelce at plus 140 odds. There are books giving you 175 on Travis Kelce. Are you freaking kidding me, Bryson? I'm on Kansas City to win. I said Mahomes has a big game. Who's going to step up in a big game? Might be Rashee Rice. Other than receivers from Mahomes because he can't trust his receivers. It's Travis Kelce. Guys, he might be going through a tough patch. He doesn't get in very often, but the books have finally said this week alone, they finally said, you know what? He doesn't score. Let's just jack his odds back up there. We got to put Rashee Rice above him. We're talking about Rashee Rice over Travis Kelce. You just got to be kidding me here, Bryson. It's too good not to do it. I think Kelce has a huge game, plays a major role in this team winning. Anything inside the 15-yard line, watch out because you already know, even though he might drop the ball, all you Kelce haters out there, he might drop it one time, but he's not going to drop it 2 times. I think Kelce is going to meet with Mahomes in this one and score a touchdown. So good luck to you guys there. A lot of good bets on the board across these games. Bryson, any other thoughts, man? Anybody else that you think people should look out for? Any other things that people should take caution for? Maybe something you should jump on? Anything else this week in divisional round that you want to throw out there?
I just think it's a really fascinating story. There's a lot of fascinating storylines when you look into this. You're looking at a bunch of teams, the Lions, the Bills, the Texans, bunch of teams that could win their first Super Bowl this year. You look at the quarterback matchup in the NFC, bunch of fun storylines there. In my opinion, if I were you, put in your bets a couple like tomorrow, today, whatever you want to, and just sit back and watch these games because I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think the storylines are great. I think this is a really, really good week of football for NFL playoffs.
Guys, I do want to throw out there on picking winners this week. We did make a parlay as we always do every single week, every Wednesday. Please check that show out. Give us a follow at Denver Forum on Twitter and all other socials. If you guys aren't already subscribed to our YouTube, one more time, please click that subscribe button there at the Sports Forum. Obviously, that's where you're watching right now. So please click that subscribe button. We appreciate you doing a cash giveaway for all of our subscribers. So make sure you guys click that button. But our same game or our parlay for the weekend, guys, we're going to have another one next week. Going to be a banger. We're going to do 2 same game parlays combined for the conference championship games. That's going to be fun because obviously there's only 2 games going on. So here we are, guys. We have the Ravens, and Bryson, I want your thoughts on this. We have the Ravens money line. We have the Lions money line. We have the Niners money line. So no upsets through those 3 games. And then we have Kansas City plus 3.5. It's plus 300 odds. What's your take on it?
So obviously we talked about earlier, the 3 big favorites. I have them winning as well. That's a guarantee in my opinion. So I love all those. The Chiefs one's really tough because I took the Bills on that one. But man, I don't blame anyone who wants to put 3.5 points for the Kansas City Chiefs because they are that team. They have been that team.
I'm sorry. It's 4.5 points. That's the catch.
Oh, even better.
Right?
Even better. I think that's a guarantee. I don't see the Chiefs losing by almost a touchdown. So I think that's a really good one.
Yeah, 21-17, 24-20. We were looking at it. We were like, wait, we can buy 1.5 points and it just give us so much more security in that game. So that's what we did there. So plus 300, guys. Good luck to you. All three big favorites, and then Chiefs plus 4.5. If you want to ride with us, going to have a lot of fun there. $50 pays out about $300. So, or I'm sorry, $200. So please ride with us on that one. Should be fun. Check out sportsforumdenver.com. Myself, Anthony Hirsch. We have AFC articles up, NFC articles up for each game. Favorite props, score predictions, totals, information you guys might need. Our man Bryson Owens here, always having our weekly golf article every Thursday morning. Golf starts. So by every Tuesday, every Wednesday, check out the site, go get the picks there. And then these guys have some special articles dropping for you guys next week. Should be a lot of fun for all you football fans. So stay tuned for that. That is it for us over here. Give our man Bryson Owens a follow at Bryson Owens 16. Myself at Riggs Sports Talk. We really appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Hey, best of luck in divisional round weekend. Like Bryson said, sit back, enjoy the games. Should be a lot of fun. And if you guys ever want to comment on this video, any of our other videos, please, we'd love to hear your opinions. Keep it respectful, but please comment. Let us know. We'd love to talk to you guys about how you're feeling about some things. So have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe out there, and we will see you guys next week.